Hey, today I wanted to talk about a game called Sentry. It's available on Steam. It's in early access. It's like 20 bucks. It's totally worth it. Really good game. It's kind of been what I've been playing lately for my breaks. Look at that. Good shot. Good shot. But I have some questions about it for this type of game. I call this like the Orcs Must Die style of game. Because it's kind of like in that genre of tower defense where you do lay traps, but you have some agency in it. But they make some changes, at least what I remember. They make some changes for some other games that I play as well. Like you kind of have like for the original Orcs Must Die to me was like you were very rarely in combat. You were mainly using traps compared to something like MVM, which is similar to this, where you are 100% about being in combat, right? And so this kind of is more towards the traps, but still has a lot of combat in it. And that affects some of how I think about the game, which I, again, really like. But I have some questions for you for these kind of games and how other people think about it, right? Because I hate making, I'm not going to make a design video and tell you this is the way it is, or my God, what they should do, or the mistakes they make. Because it's all a discussion. And they have a really good dev blog where they talk about these things and how they make these choices and some of the choices they make. And it makes me think about like, oh, okay, I see what you're doing there and I understand that, right? It's kind of like for my own game in versus mode, I wanted to make it so that the survivors died more frequently than they do in Left 4 Dead because I think that that was a flaw in the design. We'll talk about that later. But for this, one of the things that it does, and by the way, my talking and what's happening on screen is not going to line up exactly because that would take a lot of time to do, and I'm busy making a game, so I don't have time to do that. But one of the things that this does, as you'll see this wave's about to start, is I have no idea what's going to be in this wave. Now, some games let you know what's going to be in the wave and some games don't. I kind of get the argument for both. I prefer to know what's in. So in this case, like here, there's some flying guys coming at me. So that means I have to set up things high so that the flying guys will get hit by them. But I also have traps that can be for low. And those are a waste. They're not a waste, but like the high ones are definitely a waste if you don't have flying things. But the low ones for the little ground huggers, you want to have, right? And so I like to know what I'm coming for so I can strategize. Like it gives me agency ahead of time because a lot of this game's about thinking in your head how it's going to come out and then how it plays out. And so when you don't have that information to know that, you can't have that moment in your head of like, oh, they're all going to die here. So I'm kind of curious of like, do people like to know or not like to know what's going to be in their wave progression? I kind of, again, I see the argument for not doing it as well, because then you're being reactive and you have to think on your feet more, and it's a different kind of game. But that ties into the other thing that this does that I would say is the one thing that I struggle with on this game the most is, so like typically in these kind of games is you have a starting point A, and then the next wave, right? Because so again, this is, if you haven't played, oh my God, I should have been explained, right? You have waves, and each wave they're entering your spaceship. They're going to come from one of up to 5 places, and it goes like, A, and then next time there might be more places, but like it gets harder and harder and harder, and they're trying to get to the next down. They're trying to get to the center of your ship. So the failure is they all get there or you die. And so you want to stop them from getting to there, right? Classic tower defense. Really, do I have to explain tower defense? I probably didn't even do it well. All right. But normally I like the and progression, right? So that you have like, hey, they're coming in from A, and now wave 2, they're coming in from B. Now that lets me leave where I have A set up, fix any problems I have with it, but I also have an understanding of that location now. And so I have in my head a mental model of like, oh, I'm set up that I don't have to worry about the first 1 minute of the wave. That's covered. I can go worry about B now added. But what this does instead is they'll do like, they're coming from AB, wave 1, and wave 2, CD. So now all of a sudden I have to go pick up my stuff. Now you can go recycle everything, so that's good. That's a good feature. But so you can go recycle everything and move it. But then you have to do that. And that becomes work versus play, right? It's the thing that you have to do inside of the game system that isn't actually fun, but you have to go do it because it's the right way to do it. And so that becomes work. So I don't like that aspect of it. I also don't like the aspect of kind of knowing a spot and learning a spot. The maps are oddly complex for being simple. And so sometimes you learn over to the space. Now, I've been playing like tens of hours, so I'm not a master at it. And maybe eventually you get that mastery. But even early on, I would like to be able to have that little bit more of like my mental model, because it also does a really cool thing is you can you can just close a door. So you can put a killing field on the other side of a door and close a door. Now you can only close a door once and it's going to break and you won't be able to do that again the rest of that series. But you can do that. And the cool thing is when you complete that series, it actually fixes it. So next time you battle in a spot, it's fixed. But that's a really cool moment where you just know, like, I don't have to worry about any of these. And I've had it where I've killed everything that's come through that side. And that's a really fun feeling as a player. But again, if I don't know the progression, I'm scared to like use a door because I may come back to this spot in the fourth wave, or I may not come back to this spot and I wasted it and I could have used it. Right. And so it's that kind of thing of not having enough understanding that I find a little bit frustrating. That's probably the thing that I find frustrating in the game. Everything else is just like what I like better or not. And again, I'm not saying I'm right. I'm kind of curious of how people feel about that themselves. Because like I said, the game's still fun. I am playing it a lot. And so it's still working for me, but I'm just curious if I'm the only person feeling that way. Cause I really hate design videos that some people make where they tell you this is the way it is. And this is why. No, it's way more nuanced like that. And it depends on the game and it depends on the person and it depends on a lot of things. And then a couple of little nitpicky things. Those are the two big ones, right? Do you want to know the waves? And then is it cool to move the where the waves are? One of the ones is, so they have really good progression. And so it is a roguelike, right? That's another element they put on top of this is so you do your progression inside and it unlocks, and it's science and scrap are the two kind of currencies that you use to unlock things. Oh, here, I won. And so with that, you know, I am the person who will often just invest everything into the weapon. And then I will like have change left over. But it seems like the range of prices aren't great enough that I ever have any change left over. So it's just like, and this also happens in building as well, where there's not, the range isn't big enough. And I get why you cap the range because you don't want to make this complex economic problem. And then there's inflation and the way to game it. But it feels like normally I'd be like, hey, if I did like 5 upgrades of this gun because I waited, I should be able to upgrade something else to the first level or something. There's something in the economy there that just feels off to me. The other thing that affects the economy is, and they actually talk about this in their dev blog, is if you let one person through or 19 people through, it doesn't really make a difference. You're still going to get 900 scrap out of that mission. And they did that because they didn't want to have that where if you're doing poorly, it just piles on and you're doing even more poorly. And I get that, right? Because it's that spiral where you're just kind of limping along and not having fun, but yet you're not dying. And so I think that's a good solution, maybe. But what I still like is that feeling of like, man, that guy's just about to get out and I got him. Well, it doesn't matter. I don't have those moments of excitement. I don't have those highs in waves because it doesn't matter. Where if maybe you attached a bonus if I was perfect, then I would matter. Then I would care. Right, because then I would want to have it be perfect so that I got more money. Now, maybe you're just even doing that in waves so that the currency that I'm spending in waves, that scrap that I'm spending to lay down more traps is what you give me, or maybe you give it to me at the end. So, but you can do, if you did it in game, you'd be capping the impact of it. If you did it out of game, you would have that problem where the player who's doing really good could run away from the other players in their balance. But still, it's a roguelike. That's fine, I think. Because sometimes you want to feel overpowered and crazy, right? And so I wish you had that, because you also have a really cool mechanic in this that a lot of times, no matter what's happening, that creature that's going towards the exit just ignores you, right? It's just going forward. It's going to go to that exit. It's going to go hit it. But here, if you start engaging it, it will turn and engage you. So that means you can have this really big mix of like, oh my God, do I want to fight this big guy and die maybe? Or do I want to like, you have these moments. And again, I think it would just heighten that and have that kind of like higher drama around it. And also, I don't know when things are escaping. It's a UI thing for me, I guess. I don't know. I'm just missing it. But also, it's just not that important. So maybe that's fine for this. But I do wish it just had some more importance. But that's being nitpicky, because really, I'm having a lot of fun with this game, the gun progression and all the things you find. Like, I feel like there's so much more I'm going to find yet. And so I'm going to go back and play some more. I suggest you do as well. And also, I'd be curious about your kind of feedback for these kind of games and stuff I talked about. I super appreciate it. Thank you.